Welcome back to part 2 of Beyond Records, Andy Gore on competition, mindset, and training with your hosts, Emma and Adrian.
Would you ever consider doing Strongman?
You know what? You must be if I got £1 for everyone who tells me to go for the Strongman, it's like, I get loads of people saying, why don't you go and do Strongman? And I'm like,
Bit that, wouldn't it?
do you not know the size of these guys?
They are massive.
You know, it's like not just height, but weight-wise as well.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? A 130 kilo Strongman is small. I'm there at 100 and what? I'm now 110. You know, and they're all 6 foot plus. Do you know what I mean? And there's me at 5'4". I'd have a trouble with stones lifting them up, if you know what I mean, getting them onto the thing. But I've had a few people saying, you can have a go at it. So,
That'd be laugh, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I suppose.
Break a world record of being the shortest strongman.
Yeah. But only record I get as well.
Shortest and smallest.
Yeah, shortest and smallest, yeah. What if I could be quickest? Yeah.
I remember we did a big inside. There was a strongman competition going on. They must have just finished. And they
doing to McDonald's. And they were like all 7 foot. They were ginormous guys. And you should have seen the food that they smashed. Oh my God. I think McDonald's were like, I don't know how we're going to go with it. Like, It's unreal how big they are.
You don't realise how big they are until you see them in flesh. You know, telly doesn't do them any justice.
Oh, no.
How big they are. Not just like tall-wise, but size and thickness-wise. You know, they're huge men. It takes years and years to get there. What do they say in powerlifting and strongman, you tend to peak at around 10 years from starting it. Yeah. That's your sort of peak time from doing it. Some people do it a bit quicker, some people a bit later, but on average it's around 10 years. You know, you'll hit your sort of optimum weights, or your optimum performance, should I say. So,
well, there you go. You've got a few more years of training left.
I don't, yeah,
before
you
peak.
Getting older and older though, aren't I? I know they do Master Strongman as well, don't they now? So, yeah, as well as, but I don't know. We'll see.
You can see it in his eye though. He's like, maybe.
Yeah.
We'll see him doing it at some point.
It'll be an adventure.
Yeah. I'm not saying I've just had a Cerberus sandbag being delivered as well. Strongman sandbag. So,
yeah,
I don't
he's
know.
training for it.
No, we'll see.
Yeah, definitely. Are you going to train for a strongman?
God, no.
I do know a lad who I've seen at competitions. A young lad, obviously, he's just done a strongman competition. He's done a bit of training for it. You know, he's not overly a big guy. You know, he's quite tall, but he did really well. Yeah, he did really well. But, you know, he put a lot of work into it.
Yeah.
You know, the specialist work, you know, yokes and stuff like that, and tyre flips and all that sort of stuff, you know.
But I'd be honest, like, if I'd give it a go if I knew that I at least won't come last. I'd be happy to come second to last.
You're too competitive.
But no, in that kind of situation, because I know of how brutal it can be, I'd be like, as long as I don't come last, I'm fine. But I know I would, and that is the thing that would piss me off. I won't care that I'm not gonna come anywhere near the top, but I know that I'd get very last, and that's the bit that pisses me off.
The good thing about it, though, is suppose it's a bit like powerlifting weights. You don't have to be the best at everything to win. You know what I mean? You have your strong events, and it's like in powerlifting. Your position comes from. So you do your 3 squats, your 3 bench, and your 3 deadlift. They take your highest squat, your highest bench, your highest deadlift, add them together, and that's your final score. And that's where you come.
Yeah.
So you could actually have the second highest squat, second highest bench, second highest deadlift, and still win. Because you might have someone who's really good at squat but rubbish at deadlift.
Yeah.
And if you're level, and you know, so you could actually come third.
That's combined, though, isn't it? I mean, you can,
and that's how it is.
Specifically compete and.
So when you compete, you're not only thinking about your own numbers. If you want to win, obviously you're looking around and you're playing that chess game of what do I need to lift to get my total score and everything, you know, to where you come. So there's that factor into it as well. But they do an overall as well in powerlifting. On the day, they do an overall winner, and that's body weight to weight ratio lifted. So that's the strongest person on the day. So it might not necessarily be the guy who deadlifts 340 and squats 300 or whatever. It might be. In Nottingham, it was a guy who in the under 100 kilos that won it because his body weight to weight ratio, it's called Wilks. You know, it's he had the highest point score in that, so he got the overall winner of that.
Okay, maybe I will think that could be.
So yeah, And to be honest with you, winning the overall, you could say is better. That's saying
if
that
you can move a lot of weight at that ratio.
Yeah. I came fourth on the day, which was pretty good. There was a lot of big lifters there, but I came fourth on the day in Nottingham in the sort of overall standings in the men. So yeah, I was quite happy with that. I was quite surprised with that, to be honest. So because normally the overall, I know that I'm not going to win it because there are some young lighter guys that do lift really heavy, so they naturally, they beat you anyway. So on that side of life, and especially being older, so it's younger guys that get it.
Yeah, I mean, it becomes a bit more tricky, doesn't it, to be able to move like 3 times your body weight on a deadlift.
Yeah, obviously, the older you get, the less capable you are. Your testosterone levels are dropping, your strength starts to go. It's something that we sort of mentioned. We did sort of mention that I'm on a time limit with it. Do you know what I mean? Age-wise, this is why we sort of tried to rush it through to get this 300 squat. But there are some lifters up there. There's a guy recently. He's 54. Sam, his name, and he still squats and deadlifts over 300. Squats about 330 or something like that. Deadlifts, same sort of figure.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's achievable. It's done. You can do it. I mean, the plan, to be honest, hopefully, is to probably try and deadlift 300 kilo. Not going to put a time frame on it. We'll just see how it goes. But that's the target. So I'm going to be looking to start a base building block on that in the next sort of few weeks, and then run a program to get up. We'll do it in step first. I'll have a target of from around 285 to start with, and then we'll redo the program and go again, if you know what I mean. So hopefully, yeah.
Nice. Got any questions for Andy?
Would you ever consider, like, when you kind of hit that point where you're like, okay, yeah, I'm done with this now, would you ever consider like becoming a coach for other people who are wanting to do it, having done it yourself and kind of know what to expect?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I do love it, and I've helped people out in gym before. I won't say I'm a coach. I've just helped them do it. I've took a lad from 125 bench to 170, just doing the program, training with me, and I've helped other people out with techniques and stuff and that. I'm no expert. It took me a year to find my deadlift technique that works for me. And it is what you can. The fundamentals are there, but it's hard to explain really. You could argue out that there's a way of doing it, but ultimately, it's how your body works. Now, everyone's different, and everybody's you got your long levers and your short levers, but even then, people still move differently. I tried to get a lad to do 140 deadlift, trying to use proper technique, and he could get it to his knees, and that was about it. And then I just said, "Oh, just go and pick it up," and he did it how he does it, and he lifted it up. It's terrible to look, but he got it up. Do you know what I mean? And in any competition, it would have been a pass. It would have been a good lift. So there are the fundamentals there, but again, you've got to find your way. I did. It took me a year messing around, foot positioning, hip positioning, grip, everything. Yeah, technique, setup's everything. Setup. If you get your setup right, without thinking, the rest is, I won't say simple, but automatic. It's one thing you haven't got to worry about. And that's what I try and get people to do is get your setup right and repeat it and repeat it and repeat it, so you can do it without thinking. And once you do it without thinking, then you can concentrate on the power side of it. Find what works for you, what's comfortable for you. Try different things. Try your hips a bit higher. Try your stance a bit wider, bit narrower. Feet straight, toes slightly flared. Everything. Try it all. And then eventually you'll find your way.
Yeah.
And it took me a year to do that. Trying to copy other people. That didn't work. And then I just went back to thinking, well, I'll just do it how I did when I started. And that worked. And that's what I do now. So, yeah.
I think that's something coaches get a little bit lost with sometimes, is trying to make something look perfect. And there isn't really a perfect.
No, there isn't. No.
Like you say, obviously you mentioned short levers and everything, and femur length, particularly in squat, can be how people move their knees and stuff. But like some people can squat really well with proper wide knees, and they tuck them up here and back's nice and straight and everything. But then some people are really narrow on. There's not necessarily a right way, is there?
No, there isn't. And you'll see different techniques in squatting. With, like you say, there's a low bar squat and the high bar squat. So you either have the bar a bit lower on your back, sort of across your rear delts, and then you've got your high bar, which it sits just on your shoulders. I'm a bit of a hybrid, so I have it a little bit in between, works for me. But again, that took some finding out.
Yeah.
Trying both. You tend to find the longer leg guys will do the lower bar squat because it's more of a hip hinge rather than a knee bend. So, yeah, it's as long as you hit depth, that's the main thing. That's the only thing you're going to fail on squat, and just strength. So I'm very paranoid about depth on squat. Very paranoid. So as soon as I do a squat, it looks good, but I'm straight at camera to see how's it look. It's like never failed a squat on depth yet. You know what I mean? So, but it's still there because that's the only thing you're going to fail on, really, technical wise. So yeah, it's you just have to find your way with it. It takes a bit of time, be a bit patient, and it'll click. And once you've got it, it's go.
Yeah, sounds of that. I need to give low bar squats another go because I've always struggled with low bar squats. I just can't do it. But you're saying that I've got quite long femurs. But yeah, I've always. I think can't.
Now you've got a bit more stacked around here. I think you'd find it a bit more comfortable to shelf the bar.
Yeah, you've got good flexibility. Yeah, in your shoulders and that low bar can be good. I struggle with flexibility. Getting the shoulders back. So
yeah, I don't have any problem with that.
No.
Being hypermobile, I've got all the movement possible.
Yeah, mobility is something that I've struggled with. Yeah, as I've got bigger in stature, size and stuff, I just struggle with mobility. But
do you put much work into mobility and stretching?
Not stretching, I do. Yeah, stretching's just come through getting niggles and injuries. I've learnt my lesson with that. Stretching, mobility, I do need to work better on it. I do a little bit, but not much.
In your warm up, are you straight into your lift?
No.
Or no. What is a warm up?
Like? Resistant band stretch. Resistant band stuff. I do a lot of that. I'll get the posterior chain work and do some back extensions. Not necessarily weighted ones, just normal ones. 2 3 sets. A lot of air stuff, air squats, you know what I mean, and stuff, just rocking the hips on the toes and stuff, just get the hips opening up a bit. And then just start with some empty bar stuff, and then just go from there. See how it feels. Yeah. If you feel like you need to go back and do a bit more stretching, I will do. And then obviously we'll go back again. Sometimes I'll go off and I'll do some more back extensions, because it just doesn't feel as it should. It tends to work then, and then you'll get going and you'll gauge how it feels. With deadlift, I tend to stretch. In the middle as well, I'll do a bit of a hip flexor stretch.
Okay.
Yeah, just to get it, because it will tighten up. So, yeah, something I saw that worked for me as well. So just because you're trying to lock out, pushing your hips forward. If you can get them a little bit looser, then it tends to work for you. Well, it does me anyway. So there's little things like that. Again, you have to trial and error. But yeah,
and every day's different, isn't it?
Yeah. There's some days I've been in and just started straight away, especially with deadlift and that, But I've taken a little bit of extra time, maybe done a couple of sets at the lighter weight rather than just keep moving on straight on. But I tend to do, some decent warm-ups for it on all my lifts, really. Resistant band stuff's really good for getting blood flow, getting in there, getting a bit of movement in, that little bit of resistance that makes your glutes work a little bit. So just to get the blood flowing and then just take it from there. You see how you feel on your first couple of sets. So yeah, but I do need to do more mobility. Definitely need to do, especially with the hips and stuff.
Did you do, when you were doing boxing, did you do much? Was it mainly just cardio?
It's just cardio, yeah.
And repeating patterns?
Yeah, just repeat mitts and bag work and stuff and sparring and that. It was just, there wasn't much in the way of, there was your normal stretches that you do, but there's nothing in the way of mobility as such that you would do, that you'll probably do now, if you know what I mean. So it's evolved, you know what I mean. So, but there again, has it evolved? Does it need to evolve? That's the thing.
Yeah, sometimes it is overthinking things.
Sometimes you just, what if you want to get good at deadlift? Guess what? Deadlift. That is, you can't You can't argue that one out.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
There's no assistance movement that's going to make you better. It's
Exactly. No.
deadlifting.
Yeah. If you did leg press all the time and then went and deadlifted, you're not going to deadlift as much as if you've been deadlifting. Do you know what I mean? And just done deadlifting. So, yeah, it is that old thing of if you want to get good at something, then just keep doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get your assistance work, but limit them. I limit my accessory work with very little. I'll do my main lifts, and then I'll probably do 2, maybe 3 other exercises after that, and then that's it. Done. You know, I don't spend a long time in there doing it.
Do you have? I know you're quite bad for this, deloading and taking time off. I've seen you on a deload week before.
No, I mean, I used to be really bad. When I did Wendler 531, I used to have to deload every 4th week, and we used to call that PR week.
To be fair, he's changed his thought process on that. I don't know if you've read his more recent stuff, but he does actually say he does like the idea of testing like your 1 rep max on a deload rather than volume.
Yeah, maybe not every 4 weeks, but
possibly not. I think maybe
I used to train with another lad, and we were like itching for deload weeks, and we'd be going for 1 rep maximums again. And then when I look back, I think, oh God, imagine if we'd have just done it properly.
Yeah,
deload. It is. It's part and parcel of it. It's a boring rubbish week. Everybody hates it, but it's something that has to be done. And I find, I'll be honest with you, I mean, on the last couple of blocks, I mean, even the lighter volume weeks have been heavy, you know, like really heavy, doing like 2 sets of 5 with 250 on squat. I've never done that before. You know, that's supposed to be your lighter week. So sometimes after that, it's like, I need to throw a deload week. It tends to be a week off now.
Yeah.
It's not really a deload for me anymore.
I've always approached deloads like that.
Yeah.
I don't see the point of going lighter for a week.
My concept of deload that works for me will be to lower the weight. You know, a lot of people come out now, they keep the same weight, but they just lower the volume, the reps and stuff. In my view, I mean, if your deload if you're doing 250 and you're going to deload down to 230 for 1 or 2, the amount of pressure on your tendons and ligaments for 1 rep at that is still immense. But it's not as bad at 160.
Yeah.
150. You've given them that break. But
I don't think people think of it like that, do they?
No. Deload used to be that
thing.
way of, you know, you go down to 50, 60%.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden someone come out with the idea of keeping the weight the same or near enough the same and lowering the rep range. Well, in my view is you lift that bar off that rack, your spine's getting compressed just as much doing 1 rep as if you do 3 or 4, you know, the amount of pressure. Yeah. Whereas if you do a lighter weight, you take all that away, and that's the point of it, you know, is to give everything a bit of a break, but still keep it moving. You're not giving it a break doing 1 or 2 reps with the same weight as opposed to doing 4 or 5 the next week. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's still that amount of pressure on your central nervous system and everything. You've got to warm up to that still.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a debate. Some people, it works for some people, doesn't for others.
That's exactly.
And obviously because of my age and as we've gone on, I do fatigue quite quick, you know, with stuff. So, and especially when we get to the latter end of a program, you know, the niggles and the fatigue and the tiredness. I was just saying recently to guys on that I had a good 2 or 3 weeks off from the last competition, let everything reset, came into the gym, did a few light exercises, which loosened everything up. And it wasn't till then that I realised how bad of a state my body was in right before the competition. You know, with aching and niggles and just general tightness. My body was in a bad way. You know what I mean? It's not until, you know, I used to walk the dog and I'd have to stop after 20 minutes and find somewhere to sit down just to release tension in hips. Now, you know, I can walk in for an hour and it doesn't bother me. You know what I mean? So it's then you look back and you think, wow, you know, you were in a bad way that way. In a bad way, generally you would say, yeah, but for what I was doing, no. You need your tendons, you need your muscles to be tight.
Yeah.
It sounds weird. It sounds
the balance is
the opposite. You know, loosening off. No. We're not loosening off. We want them to be tight. We need that tightness, you know, because the idea it's all spring stuff. You know, you want it to spring down, but you want it to go back up. And tightness will help you do that. When you just run the risk of pulling it too far, and that's when, obviously, it all goes wrong.
Yeah.
And you get tears and stuff. But that's the risk we run. That's the vulnerability of it.
Yeah, I think that's maybe what is a sort of barrier to entry a little bit. Sometimes people think they're going to get injured. I'd obviously always say you're more likely to get injured by not going to the gym because you're not doing anything. Being sedentary is a million times worse than just having a risk of getting injured from any form of lifting. And actually, like meta studies have sort of said, well, looked into injury rates for powerlifting, and it's quite low. You don't pick up that many injuries really, even though it does seem like something where you're putting a lot of pressure on your body. Not many people actually end up getting bad injuries.
No, I mean, we all have niggles and aches and stuff, and you do lift with them. They just come part and parcel. I've always said if my hips weren't aching or niggles or in pain, there'd be something wrong. And I've had that recently where I've been no pain whatsoever in my hips whatsoever. And it's like, wow, I've not experienced this in the past 3 years. You know what I mean? But it was the normal. Do you know what I mean? And that's how it is with it. Yeah, serious injury wise, I would say. I mean, you do see some, but not many. You get the odd strain that happens. I've had them, hip flexor and hamstring and stuff like that. But it's not been a bad injury. I've been back within 4 weeks or so, and then back lifting. So yeah, but it's just there. It's just the vulnerability of it is what I like. I love it. That self-destruction, the aspect of it, is a bit appealing. It sounds a bit weird now. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. It is that vulnerability, that risk factor can be quite appealing to me anyway. And I think it is to I think other guys will probably say the same thing. You don't go into that sport thinking that there's no risk to it, or what could happen. You're pushing your body don't want to do what you're asking it to do. It doesn't want to do that. And it fights doing it. And it's that vulnerability of you're overriding it. Yeah. You're pushing it beyond its limit mentally. You've got to tell your body, no, you're doing it. And that's been the big appealing factor of it, that sort of self-destruction type of, yeah. You're
just a madman, really, aren't you?
No, not really. No, it's just, doesn't everyone think like that?
Yeah, I'm not sure it's how I've ever approached it, but, like you say, everyone's different.
You have to have that sort of aspect of it. We've said before, we guys, with Laurie Anderson, that, it's a case of just get to competition and you go out on your shield. If you get seriously injured, then you get seriously injured. But you go and do it. That's what you go and do. You squat that way, and if it goes wrong, it goes wrong. And you've got to accept that, and love it. You know what I mean? You've got to think, yeah, come on, And then when you lift that, when they take that, we take that weight to that bar, and you can feel everything just go, and everything compresses, and you just think, what the? But then it just takes over. It's really weird. It takes over when you come out for a squat. You don't really tend to hear anything. It's very rare that I hear anything whatsoever. Don't hear any of the crowd. Don't hear any shouts. A lot of places have music playing. A lot of heavy metal, thrash music stuff. I don't hear any of it. But I hear the referee say squat, and then obviously I've had a few times where I've heard the odd person, because you get a lot of people shouting and screaming for you because it's exciting to watch, if you know what I mean. And everyone wants you to do well, so you do get that. You get a lot of support of people there who are just there watching it, who got other people lifting. But yeah, you don't tend to. You get in that zone. It's all mental. It's all mental. And breathing. Breathing's massive. When you're squatting and deadlifting, breathing's everything. Yeah. That's the other thing that I try and get through to people. Breathing. You've got to take that breath and push it down into your stomach, into your core. You've got to push it right down. Create that core combustion chamber. And then away you go. You'll be surprised what happens.
Yeah, it's vastly underrated.
Yeah. See, it's massive breathing. It's all about it can be the difference between making a lift and failing a lift. Not breathing and breathing. Yeah. It's massive. I don't think people go onto it as much as they should do, really. So yeah, it's one thing that I try and get through to people. I've watched numerous videos about bracing and breathing. So you really have to know how. Deadlift, some people try and do it at the top. Some people do it at the top when they're stood upright and then deadlift. Some people do it when they're in the position ready to go. I do it when I'm down in the position ready to go. Because I take so long down there and end up passing out. I'll be holding my breath for about 20 seconds before I have to lift. Some people, just take a deep breath and then they go down and grab it and go, whereas I'm one who takes it down at the bottom. So you should try it next time you deadlift and get a belt. You try and push that belt out.
Yeah.
And you'll see, your lift will be like that explosion. It's great.
Yeah.
It's quite hard to teach, I think.
It is.
Bracing.
Because a lot of people, when they breathe in into the lungs. You'll see them, they go,
Yeah, take a deep breath. Up,
yeah.
shoulders go
So
up.
you have to suck it in. Then push. You see it coming out, my stomach coming out then. It's coming out there because I'm sucking it in rather than inhaling, if you know what I mean. And it's that.
About filling the whole space.
Yeah. Yeah, you got your belt and you'll feel it get really nice and tight, and then it's just.
To be fair, we went through that last week, went it? As part of my warm up, my program, I've got bracing drills.
Yeah.
And it's not something I'd ever done before. And I turned to him and I went, will you just put your hand there? Because I was obviously copying what it said on, because it got a video of showing how to do it. I went, am I doing this right? And he was like, no, you need to be doing it like this. And I went, no, hold on, I'm not breathing properly. I'm not doing what I normally do. And then I started overthinking and I was like, I'm not breathing how I normally do. I was like, just give me a minute. And then I stopped, reset myself and went, okay, this is how I do it. And he was like, yeah, you're doing it right. I was like, oh, cool, that's fine. I was like, I started overthinking how to breathe.
Yeah, you can do that. Yeah, you can just overthink everything, can't you? Again, it comes down to just finding your way with it and trying it out. Sometimes, even now, sometimes I breathe or forget to breathe.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Can't you?
Yeah.
I do think about, you just mentioned about belt, I do think it's a good teaching technique.
Yeah.
I think if you can learn how to fill the belt rather than the belt holding you, you're filling that space and you feel the belt against you because you've made it.
Yeah. I mean, you want, for squat, you want the belt relatively quite tight anyway, purely because of the movement. But with deadlift, you want to just be a little bit looser because you're starting off in a different position, if you know what I mean. It's a different movement. But yeah, you need to fill that gap. You need it to be really, really tight, if you know what I mean. So it's just finding the right sort of tightness of your belt to start with. I think squat, you want it really tight where I can't get my finger down really, but deadlift I can push my finger in between my belt and my sort of body. So, and then obviously, just about not freely. I can't move the belt, but it's pretty much in place. It just doesn't take much to fill it, if you know what I mean. So
Yeah.
squat is just try and burst it. That's what I try and do with squat, try and burst it. So you create that core block before you start to descend, with your weight ready to drive out because you want to stay upright.
Ideally.
Yeah, you don't want it falling forward. So I've experienced once before, so yeah. When it goes wrong, it goes wrong.
Yeah, going forward is bad.
Yeah.
Really bad.
250 kilo rolling off the back of my head. It was not a good experience.
There's people who haven't come out of that.
Yeah. Well, when I got injured with the 280, I did the first rep, no problem. Second rep, I was going forward. And I remembered, I thought, if this rolls forward, it's going to snap my neck. So then I tried to pull it back. And as I tried to pull back, that's when the hamstring just went, I felt something pop in the hamstring, right in the middle. And then I just fell backwards with the weight itself, if you know what I mean. So, yeah.
It's definitely better going backwards than forwards.
Yeah. And I'm one of them that when I fail it like that, I do go forwards. It's because I'm off balance and going forward. That's the only time, really. All this throwing it back in that, I just can't grasp doing it. So I tend to just go forward with it.
I sometimes do teach that as part of squatting, learning how to bail the bar, because it is important.
I think it's better to pop a hamstring than pop your head off your neck, off your spinal cord.
Yeah, a great YouTube video is Lee Moran in 1984 squatting. Yeah, it was the first sort of big televised 1,000-pound squat. But the squat before, he dumped it forward over his head, which was 920 pounds. So you're talking 420 odd kilos, 425. And he dumped it forward, when knocked him clean out, bit his tongue, nose bleeding. Brought him to with pneumonia.
Carried on.
went for his £1,000 squat, but back then they didn't have the extra wide bars. So they had to turn the collars round backwards to get a bite. And one of the sides collar came off. So all the plates started sliding off. So he got £500 on one side and £100 on the other, and it just tipped up and went over. So he went and sat down. 5 minutes later, came back and tried it again and got the lift.
Wow.
Yeah, it's on YouTube. You should watch it. Lee Moran squat. It's amazing. I mean, that's focus and determination for you that day. I mean, after your first one where you've been unconscious, they brought him 2 with your smelling salts. You'd just be packing your bag and going home.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
yeah.
Well, I've had enough of this, you know. And then second time when they're sliding off and it flips over, again you'd be
You're like, somebody's telling me not to do
yeah,
this.
yeah. So,
It's different mentality, isn't
waiting
it?
for lightning to come down on last one, aren't you? And strike you with lightning. You're not meant to do it.
I
But
suppose third time lucky and all that.
yeah. I suppose, yeah. Yeah, it's very impressive to watch. Yeah, you should watch it. It's ever so good. I tend to watch a lot of stuff like that. It's good motivation. I watch a lot of stuff before. We used to come down for me big lifts, and I get various different YouTube videos on as motivation. Eric Lillibridge, I watched a lot of his. Massive squatter, brilliant. It was a 480 kilo raw squat. It's crazy. Yeah, some of the old school lifters, you know what I mean? So quite like watching all them. Ed Cohen and all them. So yeah crazy strength. But yeah, it's good motivation. You know, we get hyped up and then have me 2 bananas and off we go.
Well, I could probably carry on chatting to you all day, to be honest, but we should probably wrap up.
Yeah.
You got anything you want to say before we finish?
Don't think so.
Andy, thank you so much for coming.
thank
Been a pleasure. Enjoyed it, yeah.
Good. You going to start your own?
No, I don't think so. It's too much kit here. Yeah.
Thanks again, mate.
Yeah, no worries. It's been really good.
From Andy, I've been Adrian.
And I've been Emma.
Thanks for joining us again. Bye, guys.
See you later, guys.
Bye.